It's week 2 of Beat the Champ from Transit Lanes in Williamsville, New York. Last week, Mike Zarcone dazzled us with a championship win over Ty Ingles. Today, he'll face 3 new challengers who are going to try to take that title from him. Rob Piccoli, Stephen Cavalieri, and Dennis Surmaczewicz. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Peck with Hall of Fame bowler Nawojski. Mike Zarcone is at the top of the list of everyone who knows what bowling is in Western New York. What makes him so good?
Well, he's got 2 factors. One is wisdom, one is desire. He's smart, he's been around the game a lot, he makes good decisions, he knows his equipment. But on the other hand, he really wants to win. And it doesn't intimidate him, he just wins because he knows he wants it that bad.
All right, well, he did that last week. He's going to try to do that again. We will see. It is Beat the Champ at Transit Lanes in Williamsville, New York. First match coming your way. Rob Piccoli and Stephen Cavalieri. Stay tuned. Beat the Champ is sponsored by Latina Boulevard Foods, your favorite family in food distribution, and by the Bowling Proprietors Association of Western New York. Stop in and enjoy our sport today. Stephen Cavalieri, 29 years old from Springville, New York. Rob Piccoli, 39 years old from Kenmore, New York. They will get us started here. Week 2 of Beat the Champ at Transit Lanes. And they call him Rocket Rob Piccoli for a reason, don't they, Sue?
That's right. We all know him as Rocket Rob, and I think part of that is, as we'll see right now as he throws his first shot, he's got pretty good ball velocity there. Very down and in player.
There you go, rocketing his way through all 10 pins in the first frame for Rob Piccoli. We got contrast in this match. We got a two-hander versus a more traditional bowler like Rob Piccoli. Stephen Cavalieri, interestingly enough, told me he changed from a regular, I don't know if we still call it regular bowling, but to a two-hander about 18 years old, and which seems kind of late to make that transition, but he said he always bowled even when he bowled traditionally with only 2 fingers in anyway, so he's kind of, that eased it a little bit, so, and he's been able to master that skill enough to be dabbling in the Pro Tour these days.
Good start for him. You're right, so there used to be righties and lefties, and now we've got righties, lefties, and two-handers. We're going to look at his form one more time. As you see, these two-handers bring the ball in real close to their bodies before they go, and their follow-through is different. Their follow-through is hands facing down, so they're putting that torque on the ball, which gives them their rev rate and their pretty excellent carry.
I am fascinated by the revolution that is the two-handed bowling, which, 10, 15 years-ish, didn't exist before that. Now, most of the young bowlers are coming up that way and have started to master that skill set and all the advantages that come with it.
Right. That was with the start of Jason Belmonte. It seems that the two-handers became prevalent, and it did get a renewed interest in the junior bowlers up to this point. The junior programs have thrived, and the kids are just more and more two-handers.
But you can still do it the old style way and be really good at it like Rob Piccoli is. 235 average right now for Rob. Oh, brief stop of the heartbeat there for a second, wasn't there?
Yeah. Nobody likes a pocket 710.
Yeah.
That'll stop you in your tracks. Here we're looking at him right here. He's very down and in. I think when we're talking about the more conventional style bowling, he would have been known as a stroker in his days. He's just right to left, keeps it super simple, and never gets himself into a lot of trouble because of it.
Career high 815 series, 18 career, 300 games, bowls in 4 full-time leagues, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the course of the weekend. I chuckle at that because it's not unusual. It just shows you the dedication that so many of these guys have to this sport that you're like, I got a free night, put me in a league I want to bowl.
Yeah, there's nothing better for your timing, though, than doing it over and over again. And that's always good for your game to have that level of play.
Oh, nice little bump on the backside.
There's the trip 4 we're talking about.
So Strikes in 2 of the first 3 frames for Rob Piccoli to keep pace with Stephen Cavalieri, who struck in the first 2.
He got that one in, and you saw that high hit on the head pin, but something came behind there and knocked that 4-pin forward, which is always a nice break on a high hit.
So here comes Cavalieri. Current average of 208, career high series of 776, 5 300 pin games, and a little bit of a late fall there as well.
Yeah, those pins are coming from behind and knocking them forward, aren't they? Another light hit, more of a fortunate hit with a 2-pin coming forward. Little less common than the 4-pin, the trip 4, but we've seen.
It's so interesting, isn't it, to see, again, you see pin movement from one guy that you will never see from the other guy because of the contrasting styles.
Yeah, excellent pin collision. There's the factors, too, that play into it. New pins won't fly around as much. Pins that have had a few games on them tend to get a little lighter and fly around. Great hit.
And that is 4 for 4 for Stephen Cavalieri. And already, if he didn't know it already, Rob Piccoli knows he's in for a battle here today.
There's it. Look at his eyes through his target.
There you go. You're right,
That is
the
focus.
eyes tell
That
the
is
story,
focus.
don't they? Rob Piccoli, one of those leagues that Rob bowls in is here at Transit Lanes in Williamsville, New York, but we're on a different part of Transit Lanes, so I don't know if there's a whole lot of carryover other than he knew how to get here today.
He did that. Yes, we are in the boutique at Transit Lanes. This is, you don't really see it if you're bowling in the main center. This is called the 300 at Transit Lanes, and they use it for parties and events, and it's quite spectacular.
It's an awesome space.
As you can see, the lanes are a darker shade, and the arrows are actually light colored as opposed to the dark color you're used to seeing. But that's part of what makes this room spectacular. Still the same lane conditions, still oiled the same way. Just a
But
little bit
bowlers
different
are
of a look.
so particular. So is something like that a part of it that people have to adjust to?
All right, this is our first re-rack. Doesn't like something he's seeing up there. There might be some space between the 1 and the 3. It's kind of what a bowler looks for when he first stands up on the lane, is to see how much space when the pins get set down. If the rack is too wide,
How much variance can there be?
Well, there can be quite a bit of variance, but a closed pocket, which would be the 1 and 3, are a little closer together. You would want to hit high. You tend to get better carry that way, but when it's wide open, that's when you see the ring 10s, and bowlers don't want to see that.
5th frame. Each bowler allowed 2 re-racks per game.
So you have to be choosy when you see it. So I don't know if it's set it down the same because he's still rung that 10-pin. I'm guessing that it was a wide rack.
So much nuance in this sport, which I'm not sure that the casual bowler always knows about, right? Throw
Oh,
the ball, try to hit as many pins, knock them down as much as you can. I think I've learned from you how much nuance is, and that's a nuance that Rob did not want, because that's going to be an open frame in the 5th as he just misses the spare.
Yeah, that's a tough
pickup.
one. It's almost like you lose your concentration a little bit because, as I've alluded to before, corner pins are really just a big part of our natural games. We just see so many. With the lane conditions the way they are, the house shots, you tend to hit the pocket a lot more, but doesn't take away the challenge of the corner pins. So it's tough when you miss one.
Stephen Cavalieri says it was his dad that was a bowler that got him into this sport, and Dad must have liked a couple of pins that fell very late there to leave it an easier spare
that leaked way
pickup.
right. He got that way right. We're going to look at it. That's almost to the gutter. That is not where he's playing
look
at
how
all.
far right that is.
Yeah, he missed about 5 boards to the right there, which resulted in missing the pocket by 5 boards. Got lucky with just leaving an easy 5-pin.
Is that
This is
somewhat
pretty
of a
much
benefit of a two-hander that can power his way through more pins, even though he misses his
No,
target?
not really. Not in this case.
Good spare pickup.
I'm hoping he wasn't too worried about making that. That's just your typical strike shot that you would throw to make that 5-pin.
So we head to the 6th frame here. A good start for Cavalieri, has built a nice little lead for him here after striking in the first 4 frames. And particularly with an open by Rob Piccoli in the 5th. So an opportunity here for Steven to just keep piling those pins up.
I mean, when you look at it, Rob really has not missed the pocket in all 5 frames, and I think Cavalieri's been a little bit more inconsistent, but it's how many pins he knocked down. Perfect.
There you go. And on that time, it was all 10. We'll take a break. Match number 1 from here at Transit Lanes, Williamsville, New York. More with Cavalieri versus Piccoli next.
From a legacy of excellence comes the Phase AI. With the innovative Power Edge finish, combined with TX16 Pearl cover stock, the Phase AI provides the perfect blend of length and hook. The Phase 2 set the standard. The Phase AI takes it further. Experience the evolution of performance.
Hey, Paul, what are you doing? Hey, Sue. Hey, didn't you hear? We're bowling on MSG. I've got to practice.
No, Paul, we're not bowling on MSG. We're hosting bowling on MSG.
Oh, thank goodness, because there is no way I was going to be ready. Beat the Champ here on MSG. Soon Nawojski and I will bring you all the action. We'll see you on the lanes.
Paul, were you going to bowl in a suit?
So the pressure's on Rob Piccoli right now. A pretty good size deficit, partly due to the open frame in the 5th, and he's got to shake that off and probably has to be pretty darn near perfect the rest of the way based on how Steven Cavalieri has begun this match. 4 800 series in the career for Rob Piccoli, so he knows what pressure is like, and he knows how to respond to it.
Looks to me like Rob actually moved his target a little right, could have moved his feet a little right, moved his target a little right, rode the gutter just a little bit more, trying to get a little more hook on his ball so that it hit the pocket a little more firmer into the pocket, not so light.
All right, that is exactly what Rob needed.
Absolutely, he needed that to keep the Cavaliers' lead to 41. 41 is a lot of pins when you're halfway through the game.
And once again, what did he need? That. Second strike in a row for Rob Piccoli. First time bowling on television for Steven Cavalieri, and I asked him if he thought that was a factor or not, and he goes, no, I've been on the Pro Tour. He goes, that's enough to have prepared me for almost anything. Doesn't seem fazed by some extra lights and LED screens and a little bit of glare on the lanes when you've been on the Pro Tour matching up against guys like Belmonte and Troop.
I guess so. Got some fans here clapping for you. I don't know. I'd have to think that
you've bowled on TV before.
We don't want to talk about my first time on TV.
No, didn't mean to bring up a sore subject.
No, we won. That's all that matters. It was a team event, and it was fun. Here we go with that corner pin again. A little wide. See it go all the way to the gutter. Make that late break. Ring 10. Just want to keep it in a little more than that.
So a spare pickup opportunity here for Cavalieri. Look at the focus. Love it. Locked in. Ooh, that skirted the edge a little too, didn't it?
It teetered a bit.
I think that exactly showed you he was thinking what we were thinking.
That was a big 10 pin though, because gives Rob a chance to continue his string and cut that lead by 10 every time he can strike, and Cavalieri does not double. We saw it last week where Mike came from behind by string and strikes, adds a lot of pins to your game.
Yep. 8th frame. right back to where he was before.
They're both playing a little deeper on that left lane. That left lane seems to be hooking more. If you look here, where he's playing between second and third arrow, getting it out to 5, but not as far right as he does on the right lane. So that's telling me this lane has broken down, and they have to adjust accordingly.
6 strikes and 8 frames for Stephen Cavalieri. So now the pressure goes right back on Rob Piccoli.
Big shot for Rob here. Good shot. Just the way he did 2 frames ago. So he's definitely figured out the difference between these 2 lanes. It's going to be a matter of carry.
3 strikes in a row for Rob Piccoli, following up that missed spare in the 5th frame.
So what was a 41 pin lead has now been cut to 21 pins because he's been striking.
And
because of
that
the
is
strikes in a row.
certainly in range here with 2 frames left for both guys.
Now they both have strikes up. Oh, great hit on the 10 pin.
4 in a row for Rob Piccoli.
Here we're looking at it again, a little deeper now, playing the gutter like he is on the right lane because this lane is hooking more, but he's got it figured out.
Talk about locked in focus. Watch Rob.
This is, again, experience for you. You don't see him rattled. You don't see him shaking. He knew what
little,
he had to do.
Little fist pump out of Rocket Rob there, a little bit, a little bit. All right.
This is a big frame.
Yep, 9th frame for Stephen Cavalieri.
He definitely doesn't want to let him in more than 21 pins. It's already closed the gap.
How about that for an answer? A strike in the 9th frame for Stephen Cavalieri. Winner of this match goes on to match number 2 against Dennis Surmaczewicz. Winner of that match takes on our returning champion, Mike Zarcone.
Again, focus. Look back at it to make sure they all fell down.
And if they weren't going to all fall down, you're going to stare them down a little bit if you can, if that helps. 10th frame now for Cavalieri to maintain this lead and clinch this win.
Big
He's in a roll. He's in a groove now, literally. 3 in a row. 4 of the last 5 strikes for Stephen Cavalieri.
This was the finish that he needed because Rob's putting the pressure on him and he's reacted well to it. Figured out the difference in the 2 lanes and has made good shots. Also, for being on this first show, he really is not rattled.
Nope.
You
Haven't
can
really
see
seen
the
much
focus.
emotion at all. And that will clinch a victory for Stephen Cavalieri over Rob Piccoli. He'll move on. Match number 2, Cavalieri, Surmaczewicz coming your way next. Off the 248 to 236 win over Rob Piccoli, Stephen Cavalieri moves on to match number 2. His opponent, Dennis Surmaczewicz, 32 years old, originally from Stratford, Connecticut, now lives in the Buffalo area and brings a nice hefty 230 average into Beat the Champ. And here we go, get our first look at Dennis. Another two-hander. It's a battle of two-handers, although his start is a little different than what we see from Stephen.
Yes, it looked very traditional when he put his hands in the ball, and then the
You almost
second
weren't
hand.
sure. I wasn't sure.
Well, when I watched him practice, he was a two-hander, so I was surprised when he first set up. But here's a stone 7. Comes from a little bit of a high hit. Doesn't take the 7 out. Little bad pin collision.
All right, so Dennis will have to work on his spare game here to get it started. And we get a spare off the bat for Dennis Surmaczewicz. Moved to Western New York with a name like Surmaczewicz, and it's like, having a name like
here.
Jones
That's
anywhere
right.
else, right?
That's right. Coming from a Nawojski. I should
That's
know.
right. All right, so Stephen Cavalieri looked very good. Did get pushed at the end there by Rob Piccoli in our first match, but ended it with 3 consecutive strikes to clinch that 12-point pin victory. And that's a leave of the 4-pin.
Yeah, it looks like his ball speed was a little bit slow. Whether he means to slow it down a little bit on that link, 'cause it's a little tighter. His ball speed a little bit slow, came up high, straight up on that head pin. Good break on the 4-pin.
Interesting contrast to two-handers, but as we've pointed out, watch how they begin their motion. I think it's kind of interesting for you to, hey, whatever works for you works,
Two
but
fingers, no
very
thumb.
different beginnings.
He had to see that one through. He wasn't sure if that was going to hook past it or not.
You're right. We're getting great reaction shots from Steven. We know exactly what he's thinking based on the reaction shots. Hey, let's be honest. Like every good athlete in every good sport, you got to have a little luck that's involved, too.
Absolutely. They say luck is
You make your own luck.
self-created,
Yep, you make your own luck.
but it's a product
Absolutely.
of being a little bit loose and comfortable also.
Yeah, so, again, and speaking of loose and comfortable,
Wow.
there's 2 guys that have never bowled on, quote-unquote, on TV before. Dennis had not either, but neither of them seem fazed by it. Steven's got at least 1 match under his belt. We'll see if it has anything to do with how Dennis bowls, but neither guy seemed like it was going to be much of an issue here.
Yeah, he's moved in quite deep on that left lane. That last shot that he's taken was well inside where he's been playing. So there's a lot of hold in there. The ball held off.
We can play a fun game. Oh! Well, I was going to say we could play a fun game with Steven's reactions, but that's not a fun game.
No, that's not a good reaction. Came close on the last, almost overcompensated. And
Yeah, I was going to say you could just show Steven's reactions to figure out and then show the results afterwards, and you'd have a pretty good idea
it's kind of
it.
amazing what happened the frame before, although you really have to forget about it. Just almost missing it last time almost plays on your thinking the next time when you leave it back-to-back like that.
Nice strike for Dennis Surmaczewicz. Occupation, paint sales manager here in the Buffalo area, as we mentioned. 13 career 300 games, a high 828 series in his career. He's had 4 800 series in his career, and much like a lot of the bowlers that we see on this show and in the sport anywhere, the inspiration for the sport came from hanging around their folks, hanging around their dad. I went with Dad to his league, decided I love bowling, and became the great bowlers that we're seeing here now.
Great strike there. They're both getting pretty deep in there on that left lane. We're going to look at this again. So his target is deep inside to the 3rd arrow, straight up. Late
Right
break.
in the pocket. Let's see if Dennis can match the Cavalieri reactions. Yeah, a little more quiet confidence there. Yeah, that's what I meant to do.
No.
And
Great shot by Steven.
back where he wants to be, 3rd frame strike for Stephen Cavalieri.
Kept that a little bit more on track, didn't get that all the way to the gutter, looking for that bounce off the gutter that created some corner pins, some strange. If it stayed out there too long, he went light. He hit the right spot there.
It's kind of fun to see some new names here in the world of bowling, and we're going to see one of the more traditional and well-established names in our next match in Mike Zarcone as
Correct.
he tries to maintain his championship level. But it's great to see some of these guys, Cavalieri, Surmaczewicz, both a little bit younger, both newer to the sport. This sport is thriving not just in the Western New York area, but all over the country, and it's great to see a new generation coming through.
You're absolutely right. Now we'll take a look at this. He got that one way to the right, and that is where the lanes have broken down. So there's really no oil left in that spot.
So how do you adapt? How do you adjust?
You do not throw it out there. You're not using that
Don't
spot
throw
at all.
it there,
No,
right?
he truly missed right into a danger zone. He has moved everything way inside of that, and that was just a miss. Oh, that was a close one. That was almost a clean chop, 6 off the 10.
All right, so he does pull off the spare, does Cavalieri in the 4th. So a little bit all over the place for the first 4 frames for Cavalieri. Spare, open, strike, spare. Meanwhile, after a first frame spare
Right.
for Surmaczewicz, he struck twice in a row.
So the difference with this two-hander is like Tyler, or Tyrell rather, he's putting his thumb in and then still using the second hand to come around it.
That's a 2-pin leave.
Yep, let's keep in mind the right lane now is a little bit tighter.
So as the two-handers have evolved, we've seen enough of them over, what, 10 to 15 years, how has, you know, 2 fingers, 1 finger, thumb, like all that stuff, how has that started to find its niche within the two-handed world?
I still think that putting your thumb in is unusual. It looks very, regular there, the normal way of throwing it. And then all of a sudden his left arm comes around, and he puts so much of his body into it. When you see how physical this looks when he's throwing the ball, he seems to be exerting a lot of energy.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement that goes on before Dennis releases the ball, much more so than Steven.
Yeah, it's more strain on the body to use that left hand like that. He's got a 21-pin lead here.
Another 2-pin leave.
Yeah, that ball didn't finish. That was used up a little bit early, and it just stopped on him in the back ends.
Are the adjustments the same in the two-handed world? Move in, move out, you know, I mean, or are there other kinds of adjustments that a two-hander might make that a traditional bowler might not?
No, no. Once part of a lane is unusable and it becomes dry, no matter how you throw it, you've got to work around that.
So we come to the 5th frame for Cavalieri, who's got to find some consistency here.
Yeah, nobody's really striking anymore, so
No.
it's anybody's match if they can start getting on a roll. Great shot. He has changed balls. He didn't change balls this frame. He changed balls a couple frames ago, and since then he's been better on the right lane. But that errant shot on the left lane makes it hard to predict what's going on over there.
Much more of a subtle curve
Smoother,
that time.
absolutely.
Smoother, great, good. That's the word I think I was looking for. So 5th frame now for Stephen Cavalieri. Correction, 6th frame. We just wrapped up the 5th with that strike. As Surmaczewicz looks on behind him. And there's a strike to start off the backside here for Stephen Cavalieri. We'll continue this match when we return. More Beat the Champ right after this.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
I'm Paul Peck.
And I'm Sue Nawojski. We want to see you out here bowling for the top spot on Beat the Champ.
So get to any of our great host centers and get the details on how you can be a part of the show and be our next winner.
And don't miss any of the action here on MSG every week.
Yeah, so check out the show next week or get out there and qualify and be our Beat the Champ winner.
Well, Dennis Surmaczewicz had strikes in the 6th and 7th frame while we were gone to continue to keep this as a tight, close match and keep the pressure on Stephen Cavalieri as he toes the lane for frame number 7.
The double The double by Dennis forces Steven to really stay on his game here and keep striking because he's only down 10 with a strike.
Oh boy. Another heart skipping the beat moment there.
That did not look like a bad shot. That was solid. He liked it. He watched it through.
Yeah, he had the benefit of 2 pins colliding with the 7 to avoid the worst possible scenario. Spare in the 7th frame for Stephen Cavalieri.
Now he's getting on the lane that's a little bit tougher for him. Has to figure this out because the match is going to get away from him with Dennis striking the way that he is.
Yeah, running out of time here, and if Dennis Surmaczewicz has sort of found his groove with those back-to-back strikes in 6 and 7, that might not bode well for Steven.
Kept it in. Great shot.
There you go. Winner of this match gets a shot at our champion, Mike Zarcone. Both of these guys would love to do that.
Big shot for Dennis here. He can go up 31 pins with only 2 frames to go. Little light.
Yeah, he struggled with that 2-pin a bit. You see a little frustration on his face as well.
That's just a product of his ball reaction. He's using a ball that doesn't overreact in the back end. And if he doesn't hit his target right, it runs out of steam.
So Dennis able to finish off the spare in the 8th frame.
It leaves a little bit of an opening. He's up 20 on Steven, but Steven has a strike up.
It's a big one right here, 9th frame.
Important shot. Wow, there's
And
a break.
Good pin movement.
Again, you can see how the ball starts to make its move and just stops. We're going to look at it one more time. Hits his target. Ball looks like it's heading for the pins. Starts to make a little bit of a move, but not enough. Luckily, he got that break.
It should be curving a little more, right?
Yep, but he's using a ball to kind of keep that under control. It's just working against him now.
All right, 9th frame now.
He can cut the lead to 10 with a strike here.
That is not
Fast
what he
8.
wanted.
We call that a fast 8. Hit the pocket, just a little bit high. Could have been a 4-pin. Could have been a strike, but instead left the 4-7.
And based on the way that Dennis Surmaczewicz has kind of found his groove here, that might be the critical moment in this match. Spare pickup in the 9th frame for Cavalieri. And now he'll slide over to the left lane and finish things out.
He could still strike out and force Dennis to spare. But he's going to need them all. That's going to go high.
And that will not let it happen. And a little frustrating moments. You know, the open frame in the 2nd. You know, spares in 4, 7, and 9. You know, just couldn't find any real consistency in this match for Cavalieri after he had a lot of consistency, streaks of 4 and 3 strikes in his first match. So one more for Stephen Cavalieri, but all signs indicate Dennis Surmaczewicz moving on to our championship match.
Another trick shot, another backup
Yeah,
ball.
why not, right?
Yeah.
Final on the board at 193, not where Stephen Cavalieri wanted to be. So we will watch Dennis Surmaczewicz finish out the 10th frame and finish out his first Beat the Champ victory. And again, we will get contrasting styles in our championship match between Dennis and Mike Zarcone. Good strike. Finish on a high note, keep the momentum rolling. It's Dennis Surmaczewicz that comes up with the win. Surmaczewicz and Zarcone, championship match. Beat the champ next. Championship match, Dennis Surmaczewicz against Mike Zarcone, looking to make it 2 weeks in a row as our Beat the Champ title holder. And Mike Zarcone will start things off here in our final match of the day. He's been sitting around and knowing Mike, watching and studying and learning and figuring out what his challenges are, and then just going out throwing strikes.
Yep, whatever. Just another day at the office. He had an opportunity to throw a few balls on the lane, and again, you have to be ready for the fact that the left lane is hooking more than the right lane.
And I'm sure he learned that by watching
and
the
we'll
other
see
guys bowl.
We'll see what he does on the next lane, if he changes balls or doesn't.
And Dennis Surmaczewicz got that way far to the right and got lucky that 2 pins fell at the last moment to make it a lot easier spare pickup.
I mean, we've seen this happen quite a few times now for Dennis, where the ball has just rolled out on him and quit right there. Didn't keep traveling.
No turn whatsoever.
And I wasn't sure if in the practice session prior to this match he would try something different and come out with a different ball. But obviously he thinks this is his best chance.
You know, and there's a lot of ways that this match still has to go, but I think when you bowl Mike Zarcone, you have to know that Mike has already figured out all 100 scenarios over 10 frames of what he thinks the lane will do, how to react to it, and that's what makes Mike such a great bowler. 56 years old for Zarcone from Tonawanda, New York.
Again.
Yeah, struggling, right? Not getting any right to left movement.
He moved a little bit right, tried to go straighter up, and the ball still quit on him. So you're watching the ball go straight up, and you're expecting that hook, and you're just not getting it.
Let me ask you this question. You know, as we mentioned, Dennis moves here from Stratford, Connecticut a couple years ago, but he's been in the Buffalo bowling world long enough to know who and what Mike Zarcone is all about. Is there an intimidation factor at play, maybe?
Hard to say, because on the other hand, does he know much about Mike Zarcone? And
again, I wish I would have asked that question of him, but, you know, again, if you're bowling at a high level in Buffalo, which Dennis is, you have to have either crossed paths with him or people have told you, like, oh, the guy you're going to wind up bowling against at some point is him.
What a great shot there. So on this one right here, he's got. We're gonna have to watch closely how he goes up to the lane, where his arm is. He's a little bit late, gets through it with that little shovel of his, but again, he's adjusted to the right lane, being a little bit tighter. He's playing a little bit more to the right. Inside, great shot.
And I think the thing
much
that makes,
deeper on that lane.
The thing that makes Mike great is if we took all 10 frames at the end of this match and rolled them all together, you might see an inch of variance one way or the other in that approach from Mike Zarcone, which is what makes him so good, is his consistency. And you can see fans are doing their best to keep Dennis Surmaczewicz in this match and keep his head in the right place. And there you go. That'll do it.
Dennis is going to keep moving right until he found a spot where that ball would roll up.
Boy, he needed that. You know, it was a tough second frame there, open with only 8 pins, and he's too good a bowler, as we already saw in his 224-193 victory over Stephen Cavalieri. Lock in, Dennis. That's what you need to do, and it looks like he has.
Well, he's down 35 pins in 3 frames. He's got to move.
That's a big deficit early.
Great adjustment.
That's how you chew into that deficit. And Mike knows that too, right? Mike knows that it's way too early for him to be doing anything other than thinking he's in a tie match.
I thought it was interesting what you said earlier about Mike having this all thought out. Mike is in here knowing what ball he was starting with and what ball he was going to go to and what ball he'd go to after that. And that's preparation. Great messenger.
And that's what experience brings. Mike is 56 years old. He has been bowling for about 50 of those years. You know, he is a 7-time Buffalo Bowler of the Year.
Great shot. We saw that one from behind. He opened it up just a little bit. Focused on his lane. He's got that going to the right. Great reaction.
A little delayed reaction
Great
as he
reaction.
waited for that pin to slide over. And 5 frames, 5 strikes for Mike Zarcone in our championship match.
As you can see, Mike's wasted no time. He's getting up there and he's just getting up and going. He's not giving this a whole lot of thought. This is all planned out for him. He knows exactly how he's playing these lanes.
And that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great. You know, and again, this is all, some of this is new to Dennis Surmaczewicz. Championship match, being on TV, having a crowd, bowling against Mike Zarcone. I don't know if they've ever bowled against each other before, but this is all a first-time experience for Dennis, 32 years old. You know, a little, you know, certainly younger in the sport than Mike Zarcone is.
I totally agree. Big spare here.
So first 5 frames for Dennis Surmaczewicz, 2 spares, 2 strikes, and 1 open. Meanwhile, Mike Zarcone is perfect through the first 5, and you know that if nothing else, that just puts the pressure on his opponent. And again, that's what Mike does so well. He just bowls great, and the corollary to that is he puts a lot of pressure on his opponent. And this time, Mike could not get that 4 frame. Dennis couldn't get the 4 frame to go down.
Not to mention, we're seeing him getting a little hot out there. But your opponent is striking, going up there, totally assured, knowing exactly how they're going to play the lanes, and your ball reaction is not that good. I mean, he has to be perfect right now for the ball to strike.
So Surmaczewicz gets a spare in the 6th frame. We're coming down to the stretch of our championship match. Mike Zarcone's perfect so far. We'll see how he finishes.
From a legacy of excellence comes the Phase AI. With the innovative Power Edge finish, combined with TX16 Pearl cover stock, the Phase AI provides the perfect blend of length and hook. The Phase 2 set the standard. The Phase AI takes it further. Experience the evolution of performance.
Hey, Paul, what are you doing?
Hey, Sue. Hey, didn't you hear? We're bowling on MSG. I've got to practice.
No, Paul, we're not bowling on MSG. We're hosting bowling on MSG.
Oh, thank goodness, because there is no way I was going to be ready. Beat the Champ here on MSG. Nawojski and I will bring you all the action. We'll see you on the lanes.
Paul, were you going to bowl in a suit?
Coming down the stretch of our championship match, can Mike Zarcone make it 2 weeks in a row as our winner here on Beat the Champ? And he's off to a great, perfect start. 5 strikes through 5 frames as we hit frame number 6.
Yep, looking to give himself a 57-pin lead halfway through this game.
Yeah, there you go. Blame that on me. Announcer jinx. Somehow, if he couldn't hear me, somehow it'll get back to Mike, and I will be the one who takes the brunt of that.
It's okay. He's in good shape. Make the spare.
Yes, he is.
It did look a little slow to me.
We want to thank our Beat the Champ host center, Transit Lanes. You can find them online at transitlanes.net. They're just one of our many great host centers. And if you want details on how you can be a part of Beat the Champ, just stop in at any of our host centers and ask how you can be on the show. We could see you here on the lanes.
Great shot.
And that's back to where we expect to see it.
The shot's consistent. It's just, we're going to look at this,
It's
how
his-
deep it is.
It's his middle name.
You're looking, he's going between the third and fourth arrow, so he's getting pretty deep on the lane.
2014 winner of the Obenauer Masters Championship, considered the hardest and most prestigious tournament in Western New York, was Mike Zarcone. Dennis Surmaczewicz would love to get a chance to do that as well as he continues on in his bowling career. Good strike in the 7th frame for him.
Big smile out of Dennis, enjoying the atmosphere.
And that's what you want from these guys. They want to win. They all do, and they all deserve to win, but this is a great experience for these guys.
Yeah, it's nice to be in the moment and enjoying what is happening. Nice messenger.
Delivered a little late, but it eventually got there.
A little bit of the pressure's off. Just getting a little looser. Got really low on that shot. Nice messenger coming through and taking out the 10.
I think there was a smile in there somewhere when he turned his head.
And Mike Zarcone's getting loose.
Yeah, we don't always get a ton of smiles out of Mike.
No.
That's not his personality. There's a little one, but he knows it, and we know it when he's on a roll and in a groove. He's so fun to watch. He just is just professionalism at its peak, and like I said, consistency is the middle name.
And again, desire, like we mentioned in the Open, he really wants this, and he will bowl every shot to win until he can't win anymore.
And it's a great appreciation for what this sport means in this city, in Western New York, to the people that are important to him, to the bowling community that he's such a big part of. Like, that means a lot to him, and he knows what it means to win on this show and keep putting wins together. It puts you at a different level that people are talking about.
Well, it gets respect.
Yes.
And he deserves to get the respect. He's earned it.
Absolutely, that's the right word, Sue. You nailed it perfectly. And I would think that, we've had some younger bowlers on this show, Surmaczewicz and Cavalieri. Like, they know they learn quickly when they move to this town or rise in the world of who Mike is and what he does. And I think you sense a certain level of respect that all of the younger bowlers have for Mike.
Yep.
Spare in the 9th frame for Dennis Surmaczewicz, and he will finish things out here. And I think, every professional or high-level performer strives to be at a place where Mike is. Roll out of bed, roll into a bowling center, rip a couple of 260s out, right?
Yep. Well, Mike's been waiting for his opportunity to bowl on the show and hopefully become the champ. So this is going to be 2 weeks for him as the champ. And he'll be sitting there next week waiting
Yes,
for the next round of competitors.
We've got 3 more qualifiers ready to try to knock him off, but if you come for the king, you better come ready. And a good finish there for Dennis Surmaczewicz to wrap up a 200 performance as Mike Zarcone with the slow stroll up to the right-hand lane. And these are just for show, but it's Mike, which means he'll take them completely and totally seriously.
If you notice, as the high qualifier and the champ, Mike got to choose which lane he got to start on, whether he wanted to finish the match or let his opponent finish the match. And he chose to start first, which meant that he would get an opportunity, if the match was closed, that he would be the one to determine his fate. So that's an act of confidence as well.
Just another little part of it, right? He thought all that out. I want to be in position to know what I have to do if
Correct.
I'm in a close match. So he struck in the first 5 frames, then a spare in 6, strikes in 7 and 8, spare in 9, strike in 10, and he'll try to finish off this spare to wrap up another Beat the Champ victory. And there's your spare and your final score of 248, a dominating win from Mike Zarcone. 2 weeks in a row, he is our winner on Beat the Champ, and nothing makes him happier than to be, at the moment, the king of the Buffalo Bowling
That's
world.
right.
So we'll talk to Mike Zarcone about the win and wrap up another fun week here at Transit Lanes when Sue and I return. More Beat the Champ in a moment.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
Great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
I'm Paul Peck.
And I'm Sue Nawojski. We want to see you out here bowling for the top spot on Beat the Champ.
So get to any of our great host centers and get the details on how you can be a part of the show and be our next winner.
And don't miss any of the action here on MSG every week.
Yeah, so check out the show next week or get out there and qualify and be our Beat the Champ winner.
A dominating 248 to 200 victory makes Mike Zarcone our back-to-back Beat the Champ winner. You're on a streak officially, Mike.
Well, we're on a roll. Hopefully we can keep it going.
I know you can, Sue. I know he can.
All right. Are you settling into your role here as the champ?
Yeah, after that first match, I made a ball change and moved an arrow left, and it seemed to work.
Did you move an arrow left on both lanes?
Yes.
All right, because
Yes,
you're
I was
considerably
playing 'em-
deeper on the left lane, am I right?
Yes.
Sue and I were even talking about the subtle things that you bring to the table with your experience of choosing to go first, knowing that would put you in a position to go last should this have been a tighter match. You think about all this stuff, don't you?
Yes. I usually make the decision to start first, yes.
Your consistency, Mike, even in the midst of us showing your approaches, I said we could have taken all 10 of them, matched them all up together, and they might have been an inch or a half an inch off. Where does that come from for you?
Well, experience, repetition. I bowl a lot, so it's, it comes natural to me to repeat shots.
And where does, you don't always show it, but we know there's a fire inside there. We can see it in you when you're sitting there observing and watching. Where does that come from for you?
I don't know. I like to keep everything inside. I'm not a high energy guy where I'm going to run all over the place. I just like to keep it to myself.
As we talked about in the first show, you know the history of this show, what it means to be a consistent, consecutive winner on this show amidst the bowling community. You're now that at 2 in a row. Just give me a sense of satisfaction for you.
Oh, it's always satisfying. There's a lot of great bowlers in this area, and, to come out on top feels real good.
He's fun to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, you are very fun to watch. And these were two people you don't really see all that often, so it's not like you...
Well, they're good bowlers.
Yeah, but there was no intimidation factor there because there's...
I just play my own game, and what happens, happens.
Well, guess what? He's going to play his own game again next week. 3 new challengers coming at the King. The King is Mike Zarcone. We'll see you next week on Beat the Champ.